Minecraft is a game where I often see people get the certain urge to play. They start a new world, sometimes with their friends and sometimes on their own, and they play for a couple of hours, and then suddenly they don't feel like playing the game anymore and log off, never to be seen again, at least until they get that same feeling again. Back in 2019, this happened en masse when the game had a resurgence in its popularity for a few reasons. On May 19th, 2019, Minecraft was celebrating its 10th anniversary. When everyone realized that this game was now 10 years old, they looked back at the game retrospectively and found a lot of nostalgic value in it, and hopped back on for the first time for some in months, days, or weeks, and others a few years. A small, little-known YouTuber also began making a series on his channel playing Minecraft, that YouTuber being, of course, PewDiePie. The 10-year anniversary along with PewDiePie's series gave Minecraft a lot of eyes on it and caused it to resurge in its popularity. Not that it was ever unpopular beforehand. I want to go back to that word, nostalgia. Now, I am far from the first person to make a video about how and why Minecraft is nostalgic. But the short answer for that is because we all played it when we were kids, when we saw the world simply and in bright colors, so of course when you recall something back to your childhood, you remember the feelings you had and how everything was so simple. So naturally, when you look back at that, you wish for it again. That is why I feel like the game had such a massive resurgence that it did. People had grown up, and with the game coming back into the spotlight like it did, everyone remembered the game and looked back at it and became overcome with nostalgia. But I want to find out why, to this day, even after nostalgia has more or less washed off, I still find myself coming back to this game and time again. I started playing Minecraft in 2012, a year after it was officially released. I was 8 years old at the time. This year I'll be turning 21. So I've been playing this block game for 11 years of my life. Wow. Recently I started up a hardcore world. I've started many worlds, only for me to get nowhere with them, end up deleting them out of boredom, and then starting again later eventually. This time I created a to-do list for my world. Challenges to complete, so if I don't know what I want to be doing, I could refer to the list and pick something out and work on that. Just as a way of keeping me from getting too bored and, I don't know, ending my hardcore world by jumping off into the void or a suicide mission trying to 1v1 the warden or something. That idea of needing a to-do list to keep me from getting bored is something I want to come back to later, but for now, let's just stick to the theme of nostalgia. Minecraft's soundtrack is something that comes to mind when thinking about games with nostalgia value, and particularly the tracks composed by C418. The music is memorable, calming, and simple. If you want some easy proof that people find the music of this game nostalgic, when I was looking up the soundtrack for this video, I came across a video titled, "It's 2014 and you fall asleep playing Minecraft over Christmas break." Minecraft's music is simple, memorable, and calming, and evokes the feeling of childhood nostalgia. I can't speak for the new tracks with the same regard. They're nice and all, but they just don't capture the same nostalgic feeling for me the way C418 does. The newer tracks are certainly calming to me, but it's just that. To me, it feels like the kind of music you would hear when you look up those poorly photoshopped cabin videos with soothing music playing in the background. I do love the music in the Deep Dark. Obviously, the music isn't trying to be like C418 because it plays such like the Deep Dark. Calming music isn't what the scenery calls for. This is just a side note of how much I love the Deep Dark music and how it really adds to the vibe of that biome, just like how I like C418 music because of how it adds to the vibe of the topside. Unfortunately, while the new Minecraft updates have added new music tracks, none of them are from C418, and they are all composed by Atlanta Rain. I like Luna's work. The music Other Side quickly became one of my favorite music discs, along with Pigstep. Which was also very sought after by players. It was very popular with the general fan base. But Lena's work just doesn't hit me the same way that C418's does. Something I'm a little sad about is the old Nether music. The Nether update added new tracks for the Nether dimension, and they play so much more often than the original tracks, I'm not even sure that they're even still in the game. There was just something about those old tracks that really encapsulated the feeling of the Nether being a desolate, hot, and dangerous place. The track that specifically comes to mind is Dead Voxels. I'm not too sure exactly how to put it into words, but I think this is the Nether put into music form, if that makes any sense. The track Warmth also does a fantastic job capturing the same feeling. The new music feels more alive, but just as dangerous, which fits the new Nether perfectly. Before the Nether was just a wasteland with nothing but netherite and lava, and the only structure you could find was the Nether Fortress. Now there are more biomes, 2 mushroom forests filled with piglins and endermen, soul sand valleys and basalt deltas filled with lava cubes and the undead, and of course the Nether Waste, which is literally just the old Nether. The new mobs in the Nether interact with each other more than most mobs do, with the piglins hunting down hoglins or running in fear of their zombified brothers. So a slightly more lively but no less hot feeling track makes complete and total sense here. The End's music, titled The End, starts out as the overworld track Minecraft, named after the game. It's been distorted and becomes slow and drawn out, with elements of other overworld music mixed in, like the ever-popular track Sweden. It feels like a distant memory that you're struggling to remember in full detail. Aside from the music when you fight the Ender Dragon, this is the only track that plays in the end. The dragon's boss fight music feels just as long and drawn out as the regular music, just without any elements of the regular overworld music. Despite it being just 2 tracks, the End's music really does tie the realm together, despite the realm being entirely empty. A lot of people say the End needs an update, and I disagree. We'll get into this later, but I think giving the End another update type change would be a major disservice to the realm. The emptiness of the realm is the point. It's the end. There shouldn't be anything for you after you defeated the Ender Dragon and obtained the Elytra and Shulker boxes, both tools that give you incredible freedom. I can't believe I almost forgot to put this into the script, but on the topic of incredible freedom, the Minecraft creative mode music captures exactly that. I mean, just listen to Aria Math. It just exudes the feeling of creative freedom. It's so good on its own. Tazwell shares the same feeling, though it starts out a little slower and draws itself out until around the end where the song picks up. Biome Fest follows the same as Tazwell. with starting out slow and picking up the tempo later. However, Biomefest has an eerie ring thing going on at its start. It sounds almost cathedral-right. It's certainly really strange. All these tracks, in one way or another, emphasize the creative freedom you have in this mode. Even outside of the creative mode, I enjoy listening to them in my hardcore world. It just helps me keep going on certain build projects. C418's work on Minecraft ties the game together, and there is a reason why the music on its own is iconic and well known. It's a shame Microsoft and him can't make a deal for the third album. This album has not been released or put into the game, and for the foreseeable future, never will be. C418 isn't the only person who made iconic music. The community is filled with Minecraft parody songs, some of the most well-known being Revenge, Fallen Kingdom, and Don't Mind at Night. Those songs are kind of corny and always had some animation accompanying them. I remember Fallen Kingdom arguing with my cousin whether the king survived at the end or not. I argued he survived because he fell into the water, which is exactly what ended up being the explanation. And my cousin argued he did die at the end and him walking around is some kind of purgatory. It's strange, I remember listening to a ton of parody music, yet the three I mentioned are the only ones I really actually remember. With a couple exceptions, one of them being Take Back the Night, which I only really remember because it started playing right after Fallen Kingdom. I just think that the funniest thing about the Fallen Kingdom series is that they predicted the piglins. I've talked about the music, but what even is Minecraft? Who made this game to begin with? I probably should have started the script with this, but who cares? Minecraft was created by Marcus Persson, a Swedish man who began programming at the very young age of 7. He would go on to make some smaller games, such as Ruby Dung, for example. Marcus, who from now on I will refer to as Notch, would start his career as a web developer, and eventually became employed at Game Federation. There, he would meet Rolf Jansen, and the pair of them in their spare time would make a game in 2006 named Worm Online. This game would be released through Mojang Specifications, AB. Notch would later leave the project in 2007 and reuse the name Mojang for his new company. On the 17th of May of 2009, Notch would release the first version of Minecraft on the TIG source forums, and regularly updated it. There were several development phases of Minecraft, such as the InDev and the InfDev. InfDev was when the game's generation became infinite. In 2010, Notch would finally release Minecraft's alpha version, which ended up being very successful, and later he would quit his job at J-Album that same year. Later that same year in December, Minecraft moved into beta. This is around the time when Minecraft Pocket Edition came out. In January 2011, Minecraft reached 1 million registered accounts, and 6 months later, hit 10 million. On November of 2011, Minecraft held the first Minecon to celebrate Minecraft's full release. Just a month after that, Notch gave creative control to Jens Bergeston, known online as Jeb. Notch would later become exhausted with running Minecraft and impulsively tweeted if anyone wanted to buy his share at Mojang. While it was mostly a joke, Microsoft took him up on this, and eventually, Notch sold Mojang to Microsoft for $2.5 billion. Notch left Mojang once the deal was finalized. I won't speak further of Notch as I'm aware of the controversy after the fact, and that's not what this video is about. Since the release of 1.0, the Adventure Update, Minecraft has received many an update, with the latest one being the Trails and Tales update, and one coming out later this summer, but this update at the time of writing has yet to be named. The game is vastly different than it used to be, and thanks to Jeb and his team, still remains in the public consciousness, and Minecraft has yet to fall into obscurity. I think I'm going to take a step back here. I know it's going to ruin the pace of the video and will certainly be terrible looking back, but I've never written a retrospective before. I'm not a good writer in general. This whole time I've been struggling to find the words to accurately describe what I think about all this. Minecraft is very important to me, and I think it's foundational to my childhood. It used to be the only game I played for a very long time. The freedom the game offered to me was something I needed as a kid. I like games that give you immense amount of freedom. That's why I find games like Valheim, Skyrim, or Red Dead Redemption so appealing to me. You're free to do whatever you please, but Minecraft does it in a different way. Despite the freedom you have in those games that I just mentioned, you are still tied down to doing specific goals. In Valheim, you need to defeat the Forsaken. In Skyrim, you need to defeat Alduin the World Eater. In Red Dead Redemption, you have to take care of the gang. Sure, all these are technically optional. Valheim is excluded from this because the way the bosses are tied to the progression of the game, but at least once you unlock sailing, you do have freedom to go wherever. And I mean, I guess the first and second boss are technically optional if you use a troll to break ore veins or use a chair to clip through the swamp crypt gates to get iron early. And in Skyrim and Red Dead, you can just ignore the main quest story and do whatever you want. But my point is that there are clear main goals shown to you. In Minecraft, there aren't any main goals, aside from the ones you set for yourself. But Sinking Goose, what about the Ender Dragon and the end? Yes, the Ender Dragon is a final boss. But where is the goal of fighting the Ender Dragon shown to the player at all in the game? Nowhere. Minecraft doesn't tell you anything. It simply spawns you in your world, and whatever you do next is up to you. You aren't expected to slay the dragon because you need to stop it from consuming the world, or because your gang is relying on you, or because Odin the Allfather bids you do so. There is no end goal in Minecraft, only the goals that you set for yourself. That's why I think I needed that list of goals to keep myself interested in my world, otherwise I would have been aimless and lost interest. At the time of writing, I'm at day 388 on my hardcore world. This is my longest hardcore running world I've ever done. This is my second time defeating the Ender Dragon in a single player world, my first time ever defeating the Wither on my own, albeit cheesing it by putting it underground, so it was more or less helpless to do anything about it while I pelted it with arrows. And I've done it all just because I made a list of things I want to do. Funny thing is, I've actually only done 2 things on the list. Technically one, and we'll get into that in just a second, but that's getting all the music discs and creating a creeper farm. The music disc thing is something I thought I had completed. However, the new update, the Trails and Tales update, did add a new disc that I had no idea existed until I was messing around in creative. So now I gotta go find that. Which is kind of sucks because the last one I wanted to do was the disc inside the ancient city. It was like the entire reason I went to an ancient city, and I had a very terrifying experience with the warden. Sidetrack aside, I think it's because of the lack of goals in mind is why people only play for a week or 2 and then quit. Sure, I've taken some breaks from my world, but I've come back shortly after, so I must be doing something right. My first exposure to Minecraft was someone showing off their build. They had built a decent sized town with a castle in the back. I had never seen something like this before, a game where you could build your own things. It was revolutionary for me at the time. But unfortunately, I would leave that video behind and not see anything about Minecraft for a while after that. Next I would see of this blocky game would be 2 friends playing on a desert-themed adventure map. After that I would see more and more of the game and eventually convince my grandparents to buy the game for me. I remember my first world being incredibly short-lived, but I spawned in at the bottom of a little depression between 2 hills, with a small cave entrance right at my side. This was my first PC game ever, so I didn't actually know how to play. I didn't know what the controls were, so I tried the arrow keys. They didn't work. Eventually I found that the WASD keys were the way to go, and in doing so I fell into that cave. There was a small lava fall with my first mob encounter, just a zombie. I was in the car at the moment and the laptop I was playing on was dying, so I quit the game and deleted that world later and started messing around in super flat creative worlds. Super flat worlds are where I spent most of my time playing, trying to build a Legend of Zelda adventure map. My initial time on Java was not playing survival, it was playing on creative maps doing just whatever. Though, for some reason, I remember pretending to play survival and creative. For some reason, my house was a cave with a cobblestone wall slapped on the entrance for some reason, and I gave myself about 10 dogs. And then I flew around the world. I think around that time the desert and jungle temples were just added, so I was checking those out. In another super flat world, I was in a village and built an animal pen and discovered animal breeding, and it ended up getting attached to this one little baby pig. Name tags weren't a thing yet, so when it grew up I couldn't distinguish it from the other pigs and I got sad about it. My first time with Java Edition was cut short, however, when the laptop I was using became riddled with viruses and I had no idea how to safely browse the internet, and my grandpa deemed the computer too far gone and it got tossed. I wouldn't play Minecraft again for a long while. My older brother would eventually get it on his Amazon Fire tablet and occasionally let me play. Eventually, I did start a survival world and named it Survival Land, very creative, and would play on that for a long while. Much like the fake survival world I mentioned before, I lived in a cave, though since caves weren't really a thing in Pocket Edition at the time, I did have to create the cave myself, so, yay for me for putting in a little more effort this time. I did just have about everything I needed: a chest, a bed, a furnace, a crafting table, and even a little trash pit. I would go on to obtain only a diamond pickaxe, do a couple of the nether core towers, and eventually build a very small castle. I had a balcony in my cave overlooking a hillside that I had covered in torches, and I called it Light Mountain. Again, very creative. I occasionally played this world with my brother, and we ran around doing whatever. Pocket Edition worlds were very limited in size at the time, so there's only so much you could do. Regardless, I would eventually get a new computer and go back to Java Edition. But that too would be short-lived, as around the same time I would start discovering more games on the computer. Namely, a bunch of source games like Team Fortress 2, Gmod, the original Half-Life, which I guess isn't really a source game. And funnily enough, even though I knew Gmod existed, I still discovered Half-Life 1 before Half-Life 2. Because of this, it was a while before I played Minecraft again, at least at a capacity where I remember well enough. I do know that when 2019 started, I picked the game back up. Some personal things happened in my life and I was using my great-grandma's laptop for a bit, and I started playing on a server called Applecraft. I started to get decent at building on that server. I wish I could show you, but unfortunately, I was not able to migrate my original Mojang account because the Gmail attached to it was changed by my brother, and he forgot the password to that email. So, rest in peace, Pokemon Master 304. That's about the end of my history with Minecraft. Everything after that isn't really important. It's more or less the same thing. I guess I did have a survival world I was doing before I turned 18. That was pretty good. I was trying to make a mega base in the middle of the Badlands biome, but the world ended up getting pretty corrupted after the game kept crashing. Although there is one thing from that world that was brought over to my current world, which is the giant chest storage house. This thing has been up for 300 days now, and I still have not added the lock part to it. I'm not really sure why I haven't done that yet. I don't really think there is one reason I keep coming back to Minecraft. It's always different every time. One time it was because Tears of the Kingdom just came out and I wanted to build a castle based off the Citadel from that game. I was watching the Hermitcraft series and that's where I wanted to build a mega base in that corrupted survival world. And of course there's this time, my hardcore world. Why did I start this world? Well, I randomly checked Twitch and Filza was streaming. That's it. That's all I needed to send off my 10th Minecraft micro phase. I acknowledged it would probably get bored, and then I made that list and started playing. Now it is my longest running hardcore world, and while I've been really enjoying it, I'm enjoying Minecraft again in general for a while. But how do I feel about the new updates? The more recent updates from the aquatic update and up have drastically changed the game for what I remember. I don't think that's a bad thing. If the game hadn't changed like the way it has, Minecraft probably could have gotten stale and would have just become more and more obscure. Besides, I played the Java Edition. If I ever want to go back to an old version, it's really easy to do so. As for some other things that have changed the aesthetic of Minecraft, like the texture overhaul, I like that too. I like both textures, however. Some of the old textures were just objectively bad, like the netherrack and whatever the Totem of Undying was trying to be. Textures like those needed a desperate change, and again, I'm on Java. If I really don't like a change that's visual like that, I can just change it with texture packs. Those are a thing. That's why I don't understand why people are complaining about the new textures. You don't have to use them. Texture packs are a thing. Obviously, there is a different story on Bedrock, so those people who can't just, download a texture pack or downpatch their game, I do understand their complaints. I love the new terrain generation and the cave generation as well. I'm sure I'll mention it a gazillion times in my Firewatch and Red Dead video, but I fucking love mountains. It's a dream of mine to live in the mountains and work in a national park to take in the grandeur of the American Rockies. So when Mojang announced that they were overhauling the previously lackluster mountains, I was pretty excited. And to boot, the caves were given a much needed overhaul as well. I think the micro worlds just objectively look better. I know some of the older worlds looked fantastic, but there is a spot in my old hardcore world where the world generated in a very similar looking way to the old Minecraft. Come to think of it, I think I might add a challenge on that list to strip all of my items in my hardcore world and then go to that spot. And then I'm just gonna be on really bad graphics, have an old style texture pack going on, and then just kind of start over pretending like it's beta Minecraft again, at least for just 100 days. I think that would be fun. Tangent aside, Minecraft worlds now look fantastic and more believable, and I love it. The only downside about it is that when they came out, I struggled to get back into the game because every time I made a new world, I would try to find the perfect mountain to build my cozy little cabin next to, but since the mountains didn't always match my specific criteria, and I even let the slightest blemish ruin it, I would often abandon these worlds. And I know it's not just me. I've seen many posts about that one friend who disappeared exploring the world, and yeah, that's me. I'm that friend. I'm glad I could break free of that for this world because I really enjoyed my hardcore world. Another new addition that I love is the Deep Dark. It really is terrifying to go through, especially in a hardcore world. I mean, just watch this clip in its entirety when I accidentally triggered the Warden. was horrifying. It felt like no matter how much I burrowed into that wall, he was always 2 blocks away from me. And all of that for a music disc that doesn't actually play music, which is lame. Would I say Minecraft feels like Minecraft? Yes and no. Does Minecraft feel like Minecraft? Yeah, because it's Minecraft. But does it feel like old Minecraft? No. And that's okay, because I mostly like everything that's been added. I recognize the flaws, like the strange progression, villager trading trivializing enchanting while also being very easy to exploit. But I think everything does feel like it belongs in Minecraft. Things certainly have gone less simple than it used to be. But I wouldn't ever say that modern Minecraft is complicated. It's still very simple, just with more things to do than before. Redstone has definitely gotten more complicated, but to be fair, it's always been very complicated. I don't think I've ever made a single redstone contraption that isn't very simple without watching a YouTube video. One thing that has changed is the combat. When 1.9 the combat update rolled out, I was only 12, so this was a while ago. But while I've obviously gotten used to the combat changes, I do kind of prefer the old spammy click combat. I think it just slowed down the combat when it really didn't need it. I'm interested to see what Jeb has been working on with the new combat changes, but those have been in development for a little while now, so it might be even a little while longer until we see it. That's one thing I'll give Bedrock. They still have that old combat. And cauldron potions. And leaves turning white as they get snowy. And posable armor stands, but that's it. Bedrock has nothing else on Java. Minecraft truly is a timeless classic. It has stood the test of time, and thanks to the development team who, despite I've had my problems with recently, the game has remained in the public eye. Some people would say that Minecraft should have stayed like it used to be. I say if it hadn't, it could risk becoming stale, or the game would fall into obscurity and just become a game that people used to play, and not one that people still play. The important thing about nostalgia is that it can't last forever. You have to move on at some point. It's okay to look back and remember, but getting yourself wrapped up in it can be a bad thing. That's why I'm happy Minecraft has changed. Okay with everything or not, it keeps my childhood game. I can always come back to it when I want. It's always there. If I really want to get nostalgic, I can always downpatch my game into a former version and enjoy it for a little while. In fact, I'm going to switch to the Minecraft version I started on. Minecraft 1.2.5, well, I guess it doesn't work. Oh well. I'll be honest, this video was supposed to be a little longer than it actually was, but I think it was still good. Like I said before, I'm not a good writer, and I think I've just run out of things I want to talk about. Maybe when I get better, I'll revisit Minecraft and come out with a better retrospective, but I think just for right now, I'm just really proud of myself for getting the video out at all, especially a long-form video. It certainly was a challenge, and I'm still got a lot to learn apparently. I intended this video to be out in March and be on my TF2 video by now, but I got caught up with work and other life things. I hope you enjoyed me yapping about a 13-year-old game, even if I said nothing that makes any coherent sense. If you want to see me improve and make better content, please do consider subscribing and liking the video and all that good stuff. It does help me out, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. I think the next video will be a new how to fail video, Elden Ring this time. I think I was going to play as rune level 1 and go through Limgrave and then just turn that into a little series until I beat the game. Well, thanks again for watching,